Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Beverly. Hey, I just wanted to jump on here. It's not going to be very long. I've got to run a family member to a doctor's appointment, but I just thought first let me jump into my opening song here. Don't drink the Kool Aid. Y'all hear me all the time to talk about these left wing crazies have drank the Kool Aid and are willing to do whatever that these people tell them to do because they believe it. It's a cult. Uh, Everybody knows I'm from Springfield, Ohio. Everybody knows the Haitian issue here. But Springfield's been famous a few times because Jim Jones and the 900 people who committed suicide down in South America came from here. My mother knew some of them personally and tried to get them to not go when they left the country. Uh, Jim Jones had a little church right outside of South Charleston, Ohio, which is like 10 minutes down the road from me. Well, 15 because of where I live now, but it's not far. And a lot of people that was in that cult were from right here in Springfield. They they disavowed their family members. They sold their property off. They give all the money to this Jim Jones because before they drank the Kool Aid that killed them, they drank the Kool Aid of the message that Jim Jones gave them. They thought he was the second coming of Jesus Christ. He was allowed to have sex with any of the women in the congregation, including if they were married to somebody. The husband had no say so in it. That right there should throw up a red flag, but it didn't. So he was so convincing that, and I don't know if y'all know the story, but I can't think of the congressman's name right now. But I'll get it to put it together because I want to do a little uh, total live stream on this subject because of where I live and the spotlight that's put on Springfield, Ohio, many times. But and if my internet goes out, guys, I'm sorry because I was on Kim's Coffee Talk this morning right here on Rumble, and I couldn't get on for the first hour, like 20 minutes, because my internet was off. So I got in there like the last 15, 20 minutes of her show, and I promised I'd been on. I promised I was going to be on it the whole show, but I didn't make it. And so I hope my internet don't cut out. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Um, that congressman, Jim Jones's security people, assassinated him and everybody that was with him, camera people and all, right there on the tarmac at their little airport where they were at to come and check out because so many families had gotten a hold of their local congressmen and senators about their families being in this cult down in South America, and they were worried about them because they hadn't heard from them. They did so. This congressperson thought, "Oh, I'll just go down and check on this. It'll make me popular, I guess." And he's right. It would have if he'd survived it. But then after they ambushed them and killed them there at the tarmac of the airport, uh, Jim Jones knew that what would happen next would be a massive invasion of American forces come down there and take him out. So what did he do? And they've been practicing this. This was not like a last minute thing. They literally did suicide practice runs. So just about everybody there, because there's a movie about it, and the movie's pretty much correct, but not 100%. There wasn't a bunch of people trying to defect like the movie because they want them to think that not everybody's that stupid, but they was. They were willing to drink that Kool Aid. They were willing to give it to their children because they didn't want their children growing up in a world without Jim Jones being there. So when they knew he was going to kill himself, they wanted to go with him. So 900 people drank the Kool Aid and died that day. Biggest mass suicide in history. people from right here in Springfield, Ohio. Now we have the Haitians here. There's a huge story, uh, and I'll get the author's name. They come in here and did investigative reporting not too long ago and uncovered the human trafficking side of George 10 and the diversity temp service that does all the hiring for the Haitians to give them jobs while they're here, jobs that local citizens can't get because the amount of money they're wanting to pay them, you made more working at McDonald's or Wendy's than you would working at these factories, which is a harder job, and no doubt, which should pay more, but it didn't. You had to go to the temp service. Morning, Rusty. So, anyways, we'll get to that. I'm not gonna. That's the one thing I'm gonna say. I say at the end of every live stream, I'll start doing a Haitian update of my town, and I got another little pictorial thing of another car accident. These people cannot drive. I can show you every live stream going forward. I'm probably going to show some kind of a car accident. I do the story about the George 10 and human trafficking deal, but I don't have time this morning. I apologize because that's going to take a couple hours because it's a reading literature, not a video. And I don't mind reading through it, but it's going to take time because it's a huge article. But I can show you the accident just happened yesterday. And like I said, this is a daily thing here. But I wanted to talk about this DEI hiring is almost gone, but not yet. The uh, FEMA commissioner, I think is what they call her, from St. Louis, uh, pronouns they, them. I ain't kidding. It's in her title. Talked about why the emergency siren wasn't activated uh, for this tornado that hit. She gave all these excuses. I'm going to play her little news conference deal. But if this is your job to pay attention to things like the weather and you see that there's a bad storm coming, would you not make arrangements to have somebody available just for this very thing? A tornado hit, 150-mile plus wind, and nobody was there to man the siren. And she's giving all these excuses about how they're undermanned and that they work a 9 to 5 job there because it's a little community and there was nobody available to cover the shift or some kind of dumbass excuse. Well, then you go in yourself and you just lay there and wait for news reports for the weather and hang out. And it's not that hard of a thing to do to understand it when something's happening and a warning is coming over the news or the radio. Sound the damn siren. 5 people dead, 38 injured. Sorry, I had to look. I didn't want to get the numbers incorrect. 5 dead, 38 injured. Because she didn't have enough staffing to cover uh, being at the helm when bad weather hits. Can't make your shit up, can you? What do we do? She should lose her job because obviously she only has that job because she checks off the box for the diversity hire. DEI. Let me pull the video up and play it real quick. You know, like President Trump, videos, you don't got to say shit. You just got to play the video. You know what I'm saying? Ain't that right? South African president. My internet's messing up, it's jacking up with everything here. All right, here we go.
The SEMA office is very small, and the majority of the time we work closer to business hours unless the need arises, such as what we're doing now, or special events. A lot of that work takes us out into the community, so we aren't necessarily in our office space at all times. We do have a very small staff. I have received reports of people that did hear it. I've heard from a lot of people that said they haven't heard it. The SEMA office is very small, and the majority of the time we work.
All right. It doesn't matter how small it is, lady. I'm assuming that's what you are. Name's Sarah, so yeah. Um, why do you think she has that job, people? You think it's because she's competent? You when you're in charge and you don't have nobody can go in there and man the communication center to know how the weather's doing, to wait for if there's a warning, to be prepared. If you don't have the manpower, you do it yourself. 5 dead, 38 injured because it's a small office and we usually 9 to 5 and we don't have the people to man the station 24/7. No, you only man the station when you know the damn weather's going to change for the worse. And she knew, everybody knows that they don't always know that a tornado's going to hit. But they know bad weather's coming. Anytime you have bad weather and you are the SEMA commissioner for St. Louis, DEI hire, stupidity. I got another little clip because I was making fun of the African president. But what you didn't see, most people didn't see, and it was this other camera angle of the delegation, the people that came with him, the smile and the smirks they were having while this video was playing. And it just lets you know that, these people were oppressed at one time. And that Nelson Mandela, who was a domestic terrorist, by the way, when he got put in prison, had a change of heart while he was in prison, kind of like a come to Jesus moment, and decided if he got out of prison, that he was going to unite the country instead of divide it. And he did that. But when he passed away and somebody else got in charge and their government, basically the things that happened to them during excuse me, during apartheid, they do now themselves, but worse. So they got put in charge way back in the 90s. The English settlers, settlement and all that. They said, "Hey, you got your government. It's yours. It's ran by South Africans, not by colonial people." But some of these white people have been there since 1652, so this was their home. They say go back from where you come from. Well, where would that be if you've been there since 1652? South Africa is your home. You are South Africa. Same thing here. My family's been here since the end of the Civil War. I know where they come from, but I don't consider myself Austrian. I consider myself American. This is my home. That's these white farmers. It is their home. And the South African black government is treating these people worse in a lot of ways than they were treated when the English colonial government system was running everything in South Africa. They're horrible. But let me show this little video. It's not very long, it's 28 seconds, but you can see the smirks and the stuff from these people while the video is being played.
But we are starting with this whiteness. You are cutting the throat of whiteness. In Ghana. Shoot, kill, come on, sir. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Pa, pa, pa. Shoot to kill. Come on, sir. But we are starting with this whiteness.
You, you see the smile on that woman while that video was playing? Good deal, Dave. I figured you would, brother. I'm gonna read the. let me put this up so I can see it to read it. Bounce over so I can say what I want. That's a good deal. U.S. Matt Walsh video. Yosemite Park trans ranger and a group hung a huge flag up in the mountains. All the DEI in charge of the New Orleans. Okay, kind of what I'm saying, right? Um, they want to. It's more important for them to check out a box for diversity hiring than it is to put the person that's most qualified in charge. So this excuse she gave at this press conference about why nobody was there to man the siren was bullshit. She should resign because of her inept uh, leadership. 5 people dead, 38 injured because they wasn't warned. They have a system. They have a siren that can go off that the entire town can hear. And then they know to take cover. When you know bad weather's coming, and you're the FEMA director for St. Louis, commissioner, whatever you want to call her. And instead of, if you don't have the manpower, you go there and do it yourself. It's one evening out of your frickin' week. You sit there and you watch TV or you listen to the radio, you check the weather. And then when it's all clear, go home. But not before then. No. You're a commissioner. You're too important to do that. And you didn't have nobody under you that you could send at the time because they were probably doing some kind of weird, disgusting thing to each other at some pizza party, if you know what I'm saying. But we don't know. But it doesn't matter. She didn't do a friggin' job. DEI. Every time we see this scenario, it ends up in a bad situation. These people do not how to do their jobs. Kind of like that. Remember that in L.A. The fires that she whatever she was that was in the fire chief or whatever talked about women in the fire department, and they asked him about carrying a full grown man out of a burning building, and said, "Well, he put himself in this position. That's his problem." Or he put himself in the wrong place or whatever. The thing is if you're in a house and the fire starts on the first floor and you can't get out and the wind is too high up, and so you didn't put yourself in that position. It just happened. And you're overcome with smoke and you can't, so now you need help to get out. And yet she said it's your fault. DEI hire. These stupid bitches, and I hate to say this, but it's usually female in these leadership roles that are women trying to be men. Now, if they're just a plain woman and the women are just as capable to be in charge as anybody else, but when it's women pretending to be men, They fell every single time. If you notice that, it's not a woman who's trying to be just a woman in charge. President Trump has women in charge of all kinds of things, but they're women. They're not women trying to pretend to be men. But they drink that Kool-Aid because they think they deserve the position they're in because of what they are. It's Sarah, SEMA commissioner. They, them. 5 dead, 38 in. I don't know, people. It is ridiculous. So I want to do, before I get off here, like I said, this is just quick because I have to take somebody, a family member, to a doctor's appointment. Let me pull up this little picture of a car accident from yesterday. Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. What's strange is Haitians run into a lot of buildings. Um, I could probably bring up a bunch of pictures from older accidents where Haitians run through like drive-through windows, and what gets me is how do they get in that angle to turn and go straight into the side of a building? Now I get it. This one here, this parking spot, and instead of hitting the brakes, they hit the accelerator because they can't drive. But I've seen them to where they've hit drive-through windows. And the flip overs, I cannot express how many flip over accidents we have in this town. Those, like, these accidents happen daily, more than one, but the flip overs are almost daily too. It's any day of the week, you could probably find a story or a picture somebody's taken or a video of one of these flip over accidents in our town. Yeah, the prison break, Dave. Yeah, down in there. Yeah. Um, yeah, just find a hole behind your toilet and your broom in your cell and get out that way. It's a shitty way to go, but and they wasn't smart enough to stay free. You notice that, Dave? The prisoners down in St. Louis who did that little jailbreak, uh, they all got caught. I don't know about y'all, but I'd be off the freaking grid. I'd be heading up to the woods somewhere in the mountains if you got it. Obviously, they don't have mountains there, but they got woods. They literally could travel through the backwoods of everywhere down there and go across the southern part of the country and get the hell out of Dodge. But no, they got caught. Yeah. At least they were smart enough to figure out there was a hole behind the toilet. And I can see how that happens because what's probably happened is they probably had plumbing problems there at one time. And they decided to put a panel up on that cinder block wall to have easy access for repairs, any repairs needed in the future. I get it, but it makes you vulnerable uh, for jailbreaks. But that's them, we'll talk about that. That may come up again. So I want to get off here. Like I said, the song that played at the beginning of this live stream is going to be my opening song for good. It's a song that happened way back in the day. It's a group called Effect, and it's called "Don't Drink the Kool-Aid" because I say it all the time. These people who are out here willing to kill other people because of the political positions, they've drank the Kool-Aid. They're crazy. Same thing with, Jim Jones. Like I said, we were famous before. People just forgot because it was so long ago. It was back in 1978. The only other thing we had since then is we got a little nod for John Legend being from Springfield, and of course Dave Chappelle being from South Yellow Springs, or from Yellow Springs. I say South, I'm thinking of Africa, but from Yellow Springs, which is about 15, 20 minutes south from here. So that don't really make us famous, but the Jim Jones thing did, where 900 people killed themselves by drinking the Kool-Aid that was had cyanide in it. I don't know what 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 makes people believe so hard in somebody, and seeing all these red flags that this guy had, all the imperfections that he had, because he's supposedly the second coming of Jesus Christ, but he wasn't perfect, and he did some off the wall stuff, and they followed him. I mean, think about that. Almost 1,000 people followed him. They sold everything they had. They disavowed their families, and they moved to another country in mass. Almost 1,000 of them. It's crazy. You're right, Dave. Yep. Look who was in charge of it all the DEI hires, the wardens, the police, the chief, the mayor. Their interview was an absolute joke. It absolutely was. And every time you hear what they have to say for their explanation for something that happened that didn't happen, whatever you want to say about it, uh, is ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. But saying that, like I said, I was on Kim's Coffee Talk this morning for a little bit. They had a young lady. I say young lady, she's in her 50s. That's from South Africa, and she gave us some information that is quite valuable to know. And she loves America. She's been here, I think, 17 years now. But she was there during all the Nelson Mandela stuff, and she was talking about that and how Nelson Mandela was a domestic terrorist first, and he had a come to Jesus moment in prison and decided he wanted to unify the country. So he changed his ways. And then what happens? He passes away. The government evolves. Now they want to kill every white farmer in the country, and whoever does the killing gets the farmland. Did you catch that in the video? If you kill them, you will basically inherit their land. And what about that golfer that spoke up? He said something that the president of South Africa did not want him to say. But the golfer spoke up and told the truth, and he kind of collaborated with. Basically, he was saying the same thing that the videos were saying. Yeah, uh, he's got friends and family members that are farmers that absolutely are going through this. He doesn't necessarily have to deal with it because he's a famous golfer. Because South Africa is all about sports, rugby, golf. I mean, they really are sports oriented. So if you're a famous sports person, you're safe. And he explained that in the Oval Office, but he had friends that was not. What's the chances of him asking the president of our country for refugee status now? Because when he goes home, he's probably going to disappear. It is a possibility. But saying that, guys, this is James. This is Empty Pockets podcast on Rumble, and I'm on Jimmy Pockets on YouTube this morning. So if you want to If you're on YouTube and you want to give me a follow over on Rumble, please do. Empty Pockets Podcast. Uh, if you want to stay on YouTube, that's cool too, I guess. You won't get 100% of the information because I have to go in and edit every one of these. If you follow me and you catch me on the live stream, that's good because if you catch the recording of this, it will be edited because YouTube requires me to edit this stuff so I don't get a strike. Saying that, uh, I might be on Killer Carl's podcast tonight. He's got some Jacob. Uh, he's a holistic medicine doctor. We always have good conversations. I will be on his show for sure tomorrow night, Saturday night free for all, 8 o'clock. Killer Carl, and I'll live stream. I wasn't gonna live stream tomorrow, but I think I am. And then I'm gonna do some premium content Sunday early, uh, on Rumble. So it'll be Rumble Premium. If you have Premium, you'll be able to get involved and hang out with me. And then, like I said, 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern on Sunday night. It's my scheduled live stream every week. And then don't forget Movie Monday. And anybody's in live chat right now, don't ask what the movie is because I haven't figured that out yet. Just being honest, I'm working on it. I'm trying to. I let things buzz around in my head, and then something will pop up, and I say, "Yeah, that's the movie I want to watch." And I'm soon to have Starlink, so all my stuff should start being better as far as my video buffing and things like that. Because Spectrum's what I have now, and it sucks. My Spectrum's been out most of the morning. Like I said earlier, I couldn't get on Kim's Coffee Talk from the beginning like I was supposed to. I jumped in the last 15, 20 minutes when my internet came back up, and I'm lucky that it's lasted through this live stream. So saying that, thank you all for showing up. It is Friday. Enjoy the weekend, Memorial Weekend. So y'all have a good time and enjoy your family because someday you may not have them. And if you're young and you're trying to make a living and you got children, do yourself this service. When your kid's excited about something or wants you to read something and you're not feeling it because you're tired or you're thinking about your work or if you own a business, you're thinking about the next deal the next morning or whatever that you got to deal with, stop. Take a deep breath. If your child has some kind of enthusiasm in them and they want you to read them a story or tell you something about their day, listen. Because when you get old and those days are no longer around and you've done everything you can do in business or in your work career, you're going to miss those days and you're going to wish you'd have done it a little bit different if you don't take my advice. And you don't have to take my advice if you don't want to because I'm a nobody. But if you don't, you're going to regret it one day. Spend a little time with your family, people, especially this weekend. Y'all have a good day. My name's James. This is Empty Pockets Podcast and Jimmy Pockets on YouTube. Till next time, everybody. I'm out of here.